Hey, everybody. I'm checking in with you guys. Hope your week is off to a good start. It's Patricia here. And I wanted to get a little something out there to start off the week because I had a couple of different little visits last week that had me thinking about some people that I know are dealing with some transitions in their careers and in their lives right now. And some of them, they're a little tough. And I know I've been there, experienced that. And so I figured that it must be time to have one of those chats. So I wanted to put this out there to you guys and hopefully get some feedback on it. So let's talk about, staying centered during a transition. It's really hard. It can be. I don't care how much experience you have or if you've been through several transitions personally, professionally before. They're all new. They're all different, right? They're unique. So the experience itself may be somewhat familiar, but, things can take a quick left or dark right very quickly and change into something else. And so it seems like, excuse me, it's really, really useful when you're dealing with transitions is to, number one, to kind of, take a moment and to breathe and kind of become more aware of where it is you are. I know that with a client I was speaking with recently, who was dealing with something and hadn't approached me about it, but then just recently did. And was like, I'm so glad, that I have. And the first reason is, number one, you got to get out of your own head. Because it is so easy that when you're in the middle of a transition, especially if it's a tough one professionally, you can have good transitions. People are like, what's a good transition? Maybe you got a new job and it's something you wanted and you went after and you were happy and you succeeded at it. You moved, you let go of a job. But it's a good thing. It's something you wanted, but it's still a transition and there's still something to be learned from it. And so there's still some need and time for reflection. And a lot of times we don't take that time because we're so busy rushing through it. And when we are, when the transition is not such a friendly one, it's more difficult, it's a problem at the office. There's a family member who's ill, whatever it is so important to get out of your own way. And by that, I mean to take a little bit of time to really actively think. I know when, through a couple of transitions that I had, and one notably where it took me a while to get there because I was being so sucked in by the negativity of the situation and what was going on, because there were a lot of personal attacks going on and things like that, that I didn't take as much time as soon as I needed to or should have to step away and wait, what's really going on here, right? To come up out of that fog, because it is a fog, and to act and to think, something doesn't seem right about this, because more than likely it isn't right. So that's helpful. Number one, take the break, step away, clear your head, gather yourself. Okay. That's for a good or not so good situation. Then when you do that, the second thing I think you really want to do is you got to get perspective, right? And in order to get perspective, sometimes, again, if you're knee deep in change, good or bad, you can't gather good perspective. And so you may need to solicit some. And that means going to someone who either knows you well or knows of the types of changes you're going through. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's an old boss, whatever it may be, to get some perspective about how you can approach this situation in a much better way, or in a way that is healthier for you, or that will help move you forward towards your goal. So you want to make sure and gain that perspective, because we can get caught up in where we are, what we're doing. Oh my gosh, and never really think about some alternatives that may be out there. So don't be afraid to go ask someone for some to get another perspective on something. And then thirdly, what it's going to require when to help you stay centered is it's going to require a little bit of vulnerability. And you'd be like, why? Because it means you're going to have to admit that I am not quite where I need to be, and I'm not quite sure why. Again, especially if it's a good situation, somebody might not understand. I'm like, well, what are you all worked up about? I'm like, this is good for you, right? But the thing is, it can still be unsettling because, sometimes we get caught up in the fear of the unknown, right? And so that's why we may need to go talk to someone who's been that already. Whether the unknown is moving on to a new job, maybe this is from your first job to your second job, or maybe it's from you having, a career of 25 years to owning your own business, whatever it may be. You got to make sure that you take that time, get that perspective, and, pick someone's brain. And don't be afraid to ask and to say, I have no idea. Or Mike, I just realized this is really freaking me out. Can you help me work through that? You would be surprised, number one, at the people who are willing to help you. And number two, again, to recognize that you're not alone. You're not the first person. You won't be the last to go through the situation you're going through. And so that's always, always great to be able to take that step and to be, a little vulnerable and to open yourself up. When I have learned to do that, man, the things that I learn when I do that, it never fails. Every single day, there's something else I learn from acknowledging that I don't know everything. Now, don't go telling my family or my kids that, right? Because they think I know everything. I'm moms. I'm supposed to know everything. But seriously, we don't know everything. We don't know how things are going to go all the time. We don't know how things are going to go most of the time. And it takes some vulnerability and some humility to be able to admit that and to say that. And some people may not understand it. Some people may not be ready for that from you. If you've always been the strong one, the one who's always like, go, 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 or yes, we can do this or whatever. And now here you are like, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do next. I'm telling you, take it from you. There are some people that can't handle that, and you'll learn it because that is a part of the process. And that's actually kind of helpful to you because you will know that you can't rely on those people when you are in need of the strength. Because when you're in the need of being centered and going through a transition, strong people need help too. All right. I'm here to speak for it because, I'm traditionally have been the person that people go to for help, for advice, whatever it may be. But, hey, as I recently admitted, I am not Superwoman. And if I were, then I'd have to admit that Superwoman needs, help too. And so that's always good. So take a break, take a breath, get some perspective. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable in seeking out some help. And then be true to yourself. And you're just like, well, how does that help you stay centered? When we aren't true to ourselves, when we're not staying committed to who we are at our core, that leads to disruptions in how we think, how we approach situations. It makes us unhappy, and you get this anger, and you're not quite sure where it comes from, this angst, this anxiety. And it comes from when you're not being true to yourself because you're either still trying to, please somebody else. You're still trying to hold on to pretending like you know it all. You have all the answers, whatever. There's a number of reasons, but it takes you off point, takes you off center, and you can't approach that transition in the healthiest and most productive way if you're there. So it takes a moment, after you've got to take that time to admit that maybe you need some help, that you need to seek out some other advice. And then also, like I said, just to be true to yourself. When you are willing to do that and to be true to who you are at your core, you can be ready for anything. That doesn't mean that you don't change in the process. You do, but your core self remains pretty much the same. You just grow and evolve, right? You grow and evolve, and you get a deeper sense of who you are, what you're worth, how you can handle things that you didn't think that you could possibly ever handle. That's the thing. That's the beauty of transitions. Oh my goodness. That's a whole other conversation by itself, that I think that one's going to have to be a written blog for me, because there have been some crazy time transitions for me over the course of the last few years. And they're definitely worth writing about. But I am here to tell you that you can make it through them, you can overcome them, and you can do it being true to you, knowing who you are, being stronger for it, and being able to face whatever new thing is coming before you in a totally new, strengthened, and empowered way. So I think that's what I wanted to get out to you today. I hope your day is going great. I hope your week goes even better. And I will check in with you because, of course, it's a new month coming. We got new things to approach. Always don't forget to check things out either on the business page or on the website, www.patriciavhayes.com, where I will continue to help you strong professional women who are in the middle of transitions to be able to do so authentically and stay true to who you are. All right, take care, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.